So here we have a 5200 frame. Yeah, beautiful silver with a high level of sparkle. We're gonna do some detailing on this. Yeah, it is in for a magic tune-up with refurbishing paint job. So we are gonna make this thing as best as it can be without completely touch up in paint. Try that, but we'll give it a good polish, clean up as much scratches as possible, and add a good beautiful ceramic coating for protection. So in any case, we're gonna make this baby shine after this.
Welcome to I Know a Guy Bicycles, hanging out with a guy. Hi, I'm Justin the Guy. Obviously I have a garage shop. Take scary how to use one bike at a time. If you want to be kept up to date on latest projects and topics, please like and subscribe.
So after being a bike mechanic after 30 years, I really got into bike frame detailing. You'd think I'd detail my car, but I haven't gotten there yet. But in any case, I've been using these products to detail and shine up my bike. You can tell where my priorities are, right? So I just want to go over to review some of the things I'm going to be using. Purple Power diluted half and half. That's what I use to really initially strip all the gunk off the frame itself. Once that's cleaned, then I use the scratch and swirl from Adams to kind of relieve some of those scratches, and like the product says, just to kind of make it go away much as possible. There's some chips that just can't get rid of completely, but actually that smooths those areas down. Use a pad that has a little bit of wool blend. It actually works well. Then we use the Adams compound to kind of smooth out the whole paint job, clear coat, and then we finish up with the polish, which gives it a nice high-res polish. Be using those particular pads accordingly. In addition to, then we clean the surface again with lithium surface cleaner. That actually preps the paint or the clear coat to be ready to be ceramic sealed. Then I use ceramic slam from lithium to actually do the actual ceramic coating. You can use any of the different types of products out there, similar type of things. I just do like these different layers of really cleaning it, prepping the particular paint, and get it to shine as best as possible and adding a level of protection. That's what you're going to try to do yourself at home. And I accordingly have a different color coding fiber cloths to do wipe down so I don't cross-contaminate very much as I do this process. So that's the equipment. I also use a Dremel tool that actually is rechargeable and works really well affiliated with these pads, and we'll just go into details from there. So without further ado, let's dive into this and get sparkly. So for demonstration purposes, I'm not going to do the whole frame because that'll be just long and boring and be a lot of music time. So I'm just going to do this section through here where there is a couple good little scratches and chips down to the bottom base layer paint, if not actually to the carbon. The frame is structurally fine. It just needs to be cleaned up. So from here to here, we're going to do a pretty good level of cleaning. First, going to do the cleaning with the Purple Power. What this does is lifts all that dirt up and grime, because you don't want to be smashing that in there by using the pads and that kind of thing. There's different techniques of doing it, of course, that I know. One is you can use this, or there's also Grime Wave, which is this guy here from Lithium. What this you can actually do is just spray directly onto the frame itself, give a little scrubbing if you need to, and then do that, and you just use water to basically clean that surface off completely. Then you can apply a rag and clean it off there. So there's a couple different ways of cleaning the surface. I usually just do the Purple Power. Grime Wave works well as too, also in different parts of componentry and car engine blocks and places that are just dirty. It's easy just to spray and let it sit or scrub a little bit and wash it right off, which is kind of nice. So got a clean area here, so we're going to proceed into the scratch and swirl. Scratch and swirl, put a little bit on the pad, push it into there, light and fly it a little. And if you want to do a test section, I've done several of these paint jobs, so I know how it behaves and how to put more effort and less effort into it. For you at home, like on the down tube underneath, you can do a little test section. That's a great way of kind of seeing how these products behave before actually doing the whole frame. So good side note there. So we're going to dive into this. Yes, it's time to do the old man spectacles. Even when I was younger, I had to do this too, so I can actually get a closer look and see what the heck I'm doing. What the scratch and swirl does, I'm doing the whole section here. Reason being, there's a lot of scratches on this particular paint. Most of the time, I only will do concentrated areas where they actually needs it. Also, this is really good to get rid of kind of like that surface gunk debris to try to, that may be really hard to get off. I've seen cut through that and kind of take it off, which is kind of nice. And then after doing this, I do wipe it down with color appropriate fiber cloth so I can see what I'm looking at. So got some good chips here. Maybe that's a little bit of paint. I got dripped on there. Got a little bit of scarring here. A couple good chips here, but I can see the paint clear coat starts to polish up. So I might want to hit this area and kind of see if I can get the scratch and swirl just to pull those little paint blobs up so I'm not using a harsh chemical to use it. All right, let's see what I got here. We got little paint chips, or not, paint droplets from a can of paint are gone. You'd be amazed how many times I see little droplets of it falling over in the garage or the basement or whatever and scrape up against it. It's like a white or, it's a wall paint. This one's like somebody painted something in the garage and got on there. So I'm probably going to find a few more. Hopefully not too much, because sometimes they get really hard to get off. But in any case, this is looking pretty good. Granite, I can't do matte super magic on this because they have boo-boo scars here I'm going to have to just work around. But it does have a pretty clear coat, and inspecting these scars is very important because you want to make sure there's no compromised section in this area here. It's fine. It's just gotten to the black underneath the original paint, and maybe a little bit of the carbon, but other than that, that's okie dokie. What we're going to do though is we're going to polish it, a little compound polish, and then the ceramic coating. The ceramic coating is going to be great because if there is any exposed little carbon bits, it's going to seal up those little areas just a little bit, just to give it enough protection. So if there is any water or any of that, it's not going to get into those areas. Not to say it's going to cause any problems. You just don't want exposed carbon. It's just it has to be treated specifically if it's going to be exposed, and these are obviously not treated. The treatment is the paint, so you want to definitely put some kind of protection on there. If it was me that had a really big kind of gouge or a cut into carbon, I probably would put some touch-up paint or a clear coat per se to actually give it a little extra coverage. But I don't think this is actually exposed carbon. It's just a little bit of a black paint underneath coming through. So next step is going to be the compound. Put it on the compound pad. The blue, it's white, whatever. So we're going to do the same kind of process, but what we're going to be doing is just kind of trying to clean up and correct that surface of the paint, so it gives a little better opportunity for a good polish. All right. Woo-wee. What is still there is really coming back to life. Definitely starting to get that high gloss. They did have a high gloss on these, and that silver has a lot of little flakes in it, so it's going to really bring out that color in the sun. But in this kind of lighting, you're going to be just, well, you're looking at it basically a reflection. But the sunlight, you're going to actually see that sparkle come out, and yeah, really be really pretty. But really, I'm doing all this for protection for the frame. The gentleman that owns this, I mean, he loves his bike. Obviously, he's done a lot of riding. In this particular case, he just, he wanted to be cleaned up more. Just more the protection is more of the concern than the actual polish prettiness. But, you get a little bit of pretty out of it, well, why not, right? Alrighty. Woo! We got some prettiness popping through. It is pretty, but it's still, you know, not boo-booed. But anyway, but doing this particular process, even just cleaning it and putting a ceramic coating on it and not necessarily doing the polishing and the corrective paint and all that, still going over the frame anywhere between 5 to 7 to 10 times. Well, that enables me as a mechanic to ensure that I'm double checking everything by times 5, 7, or 10 to make sure there's nothing wrong, like there's, you know, cracks or damage to the carbon or aluminum frames or titanium or steel. So it just really gives me that more sense of like, okay, this is really going over it. And even in the sunlight, when I do the ceramic coating and pulling and polishing of it, it really pops. And in sunlight too, you can kind of see even more if there's any issues there. And I couldn't tell you how many times, I've probably at least a handful of times that done all this work and throw it in the sun and going, oh, what's this? You know, or it's like a hairline crack you can barely see. Or I found one once is in the pictures. I was about ready to post it and I noticed on the pictures, like, wait, what is that? Because I don't know why I didn't see it, but I did finally saw it. So at the end of the day, nobody's perfect, right? Even I make mistakes, even if you go over it several times, but it really does reduce that, and hopefully that gives kind of a, and make sure it's safe at the end of the day, right? Now we're on to the cleaning phase. So using the lithium surface cleaner, what this does is basically pulls up any of those chemicals and polishes that I've used off the top surface. So it provides and preps the paint to receive the ceramic coating. In other words, best contact, right? And the best contact will give you the best results. So what I do, I like using these smaller pads or pliable instead of the bricks. These are great for cars because there's a lot of flat surfaces. But for me, I need to get into all these little corners and nooks and crannies. So light and polite on this. You don't need to use a lot. You can see my bottle starting to get empty. I've had this for 3 months now. I've gone through, I'd say probably 20 bike frames and wheels and various other, probably at least 30 applications. You can get about 8 cars worth of coating on that, and plus I doubled up and learning and doing all this. I probably used a lot more than I should on the applicator and that kind of thing, and just basically there's waste on that. But considering a bottle of that will last if you're just doing your bikes, probably won't need to buy another bottle of it anytime soon. And feel free to start applying it to your car and other things that need to be protected, motorcycles and your lawnmower. I'm just kidding. So I like to apply this. You just do a little coat on it. When I do the whole frame, obviously you want to clean the whole frame, then do this at the end. I go over the sections twice as one stack. Reason being is that opportunity for me to maybe catch everything at least once so I don't miss it. And then the second stack I'll wait after either 5-10 minutes up to a couple hours. There's a range you can just do, and then do the second layer on there, repeat, and let that sit for 10 minutes or longer, and then you can wipe off that haze, and we'll do that in the sun here once I complete the frame. But what we're doing is basically applying this, and it doesn't have to be too intense, just a good coating, and you'll see there'll be a shine that'll dry to haze. A lot of these different ceramics will have different kind of reactions. In other words, the flash point is what they're calling. And the Adams ceramic has like a flash. It looks like kind of like gasoline, that acetone looking thing. This one's more of a white haze. But all of them, once you get to that dry point, you take your clean fiber cloth once it dries, and this one kind of has already a haze to it, and you just wipe it off. And when you're not wiping it off, you actually are busting down that external coating, and you'll feel kind of a catch or a stickiness. Then all of a sudden it's like super smooth and super glossy on this one. If you have matte finishes, this works just fine, and also titanium frames and metal parts. I also use this on bike rims and hoods on the bike parts, the seat itself, you can put it on there. It just gives that layer of extra protection and adds, watershed. Also, UV protection is really the biggest thing on this guy, especially if you get a couple layers of stack on there, that UV protection. Some of these, the newer decals don't fade, but back in the 80s, when we 90s, when we had those fluorescent bikes, I wonder if this would have helped that, because some of those bikes are ugly now. I mean, bright orange is now some kind of like, I don't know, bad. So in any case, so anyway, that's where I'm going to continue to do. I'm going to go ahead and clean the rest of the frame, polish it, and do the ceramic coating. And check this out. I'm going to do the reveal of the actual ceramic shine in the sun right now. So yeah, here we have it. You can see the sparkle in the sun, right? 5200 OCLV Trek. Yeah, this is pretty awesome. You can still see the scarring, but I coated it like 3 times with that ceramic slam from lithium. Reason being is I wanted added coverage and protection of anything that may be exposed as carbon-wise and underneath paint. Yeah, definitely detailed and everything. But yeah, I have not knocked down the ceramic slam yet, so this is just dried. You're looking at 3 coats at least, so a 3 stack. And let's take a better look at this while I wipe off the ceramic coating on this. Yeah, let's check it out. But first, I want to show the frame how sparkly it is in the sun. I mean, it just looks silver in the shop lighting, but when you get it outside, this is where you can really see any kind of imperfections and so forth. But on that, but I wanted to showcase this before even wiping off that haze. That haze is basically shows that it is dry and ready to be knocked down. So I got a fiber cloth that's pretty much brand new, unused, only for cleaning off the final result. So you got a little bit of haze. Feel a little tack at first when you do any of these ceramic coatings, just to kind of knock it down. And once you get that knocked down, you can see an extra level of shine to it, and bam, that is just, wow, it's even prettier in person. It's hard to get this on film, but in any case, you can definitely see the reflection of this. Look at that blue just pop. And then you got the deep glitter of the gray paint, definitely. And these are kind of like the boo areas. I want to make sure they got good coverage to them. And adding a 3 stack to this is about as many stacks I've done on any of the frames so far, just because I wanted added protection. And it is definitely coming out amazing. Holy smokes, check that out. Yeah, so with that added protection, the water is just going to shed right off of this and be easy to give it a good cleaning every time it gets ready for a cleaning. So hopefully it adds an extra layer of protection, and it's like it's getting really smooth. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. I mean, you just touch your fingers to it and it just becomes like super slick. And I touch other frames and kind of slide my finger on the top 2 that have not been treated. You can tell a huge difference. So yeah, absolutely great protection on that. And let's take a little test here, just for fun. See what it does. So on these, you want them to cure, like, I don't know, overnight. It's usually suggested before you do a power wash, car wash, that kind of thing. But we're going to do a quick little spritz test. Just a bottle of water, nothing in there, just water itself. I just want to show the beating of it and how it just drips right off. See how it just kind of small micro beads, and they can barely even hang on to the frame. And looking at that, you just seen it just drip easily. And let's just imagine you're riding. You get a little vibration going on. That's just going to help those droplets just roll right off. And also, what's the super cool thing is you got those droplets are really not attaching, or the water's not attaching to the paint at all. It's just sitting there. You take your cloth and wham, 1 wipe and you're done. I mean, I can't, I can't, I can't say any more about this stuff. It's just pretty mind blowing, really cool. This is going to protect the road bike from all the grime that comes underneath. And you can use this on your mountain bikes. You can use it on lawnmowers. I'm just kidding. Cruisers are going to be affected here real soon. And yeah, that's some pretty cool stuff. And I did it to like the head badge, also the bits. It's definitely darkened up the stem, and also did it on the shifter hoods here to give a little more protection, some life. So yeah, and oh yeah, I forgot, did the saddle too. Look at that, almost looks brand new in the sun. So hopefully that ceramic slam, when it's treated on parts like this, so they don't discolor in the sun, it'll keep it from doing that. But pretty common on some of those black anodized parts. In any case, details below in the description. Hey, if you have any techniques, trips, or products that you use doing detailing on your cars and also bike frames and that kind of thing, hey, blow it up on the comments below. It'd be awesome to check those out, share it with the community. Other than that, if it's nice in your neighborhood, please go for a ride. Until next time, from the garage, have a great day.